So when I tell you something as a subject matter expert, you will take that as an expert, and then you will ask me a question, and then now we will start to get something going. Okay? So that being said, some of the data that I use around the country on restorative practices shows us this. That in Chicago, the schools reported a 16% suspension rate, down from 23%. Staff and students reported feeling safer at school. Now, we think about some of the things that are going on in the Chicago public school system, things that are far more egregious than we may be dealing with right here in Benton Harbor. But the reason that I go and I try to find data from school districts that are far, far more egregious, or deal with things that are more egregious, is because I want to show you something. That if it can work in a school district that's dealing with gangs, violence, and drugs, and that's not to say that we may not be experiencing some of those things, but not to the level of Chicago and Baltimore. If it can work in school districts like that, surely we can make it work here. And so I want you to be confident, and I want you to know that what we're doing right here is not impossible. It's all within the range of possible. But this is some of the data. And these are not anomalies. If you wanted to, you can go on Google right now, and you can Google restorative justice schools, and just look at all of the different institutions with the data that will pop up. It's something that has proven year after year, since the 70s, to be highly effective in reducing and mitigating unwanted behaviors. So as we get started in this training, like I said, we need to find out, we need to diagnose what's going on here in Benton Harbor. So what I usually do when I get to this section right here, I usually go on Facebook, I do a little background on your particular community. So I think I know everything you guys are dealing with. So what I'm gonna do to make it easy on you at this time, I'm gonna tell you everything you're not dealing with, okay? We're gonna put that over here, and then you can tell me the things you are dealing with. That make it easier for you? Okay, I'm a nice guy, I like to do it, not a problem. So some of the things I know you're not dealing with is disrespectful people, right? So we're not even talking about that. We're not dealing with it, right? I also know that you're not dealing with cell phones. You're not dealing with cell phone problems. I know you don't have a social media problem. Kids are not abused of social media in school. And I pretty much know that you don't have kids who are fighting a lot in this world. All right? So we're going to put all that over here. Now, does somebody want to tell me what's left, what you are dealing with? Now, of course, I know those are issues that you're dealing with. But let's talk a little bit. Let's talk about in your classroom, what are some of the common occurrences that you see or within your district? We don't have to drill down on the classroom. Let's talk about a little bit of the things that we're seeing within our district or the change in our district. Who would be so kind? Brandon said what? Profanity. Okay, so this right here, this group right here, y'all just got a point of thank you. All right. Yes, in the back. Okay. All right, kids feel they can just do whatever they want. Okay, thank you. All right, back over here. Yes, sir. That is systemic throughout the state, well, really throughout the country. Parental apathy. Yeah. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you. Okay, good. Yes, sir. Okay, so when they say it, I will repeat it. Our last thing was parental apathy. Okay, so now we'll open it back up right here in front of you. Talking back to teachers. Very good. Right here, sir. Okay, say that again. The ability to work together in groups. Right. Okay. All right. Yes, right here. Respect. Yeah. So lack of respect for anything. And we have one all the way in the back up against the wall. Destroying school property. Okay. Yes, right here. Lack of desire and motivation to work. And we'll take one more. Right here. Baggage. Okay. So that was a lot. Right? So we are dealing with some things. Now I want you to keep track of those things, right? I want you to keep track of those things because we're going to bring back, and we're going to touch on those points. Right? We're going to go a little deeper. Now, with all of the problems that we talked about, what are some of the things that you've been trained in to address them? What are some of the training, discipline model training that you've had in your district? Say again. ACE. Are you ACE scores? Yeah. PBIS, ACE. Okay, very good. Right here, sir. CHAMP. Yeah. Okay, CHAMP. Classroom move. Yeah. Good. Yes. The rumor time process. Oh. Wow. Sir, would it be okay if I not repeated all that? Thank you very much. Okay, good. All right. So we think about all of those different behavior models and trainings that we've taken. We can really consolidate those things into two things, right? The objective is to mitigate unwanted behaviors and to encourage positive behaviors. Do you agree with that, thumbs up? So all of the things that we just talked about, if you have been trained in those things, they fall up under the umbrella of what it means to be restored. So they're part of one of the restored practices. So at the beginning, I told you, over 80%, 90% of what we're going to be asking you to do, you're already doing. And we see that now. Because they all fall up under these two categories: mitigating unwanted behaviors and reducing or encouraging positive behaviors. That is the tail of the tape that we want right now. So we have a couple of videos that we're going to get into. One is a template on what we could do here in the Benton Harbor School District. We know that in 2017, we got hit with this mandate to practices on restorative justice. District in and around their entire district. We have a video from the San Francisco Unified School District, who over 10 years ago started to implement restorative practices on the district-wide level. So we're going to look at what educators have done, and we're going to build upon that, on what we're going to be able to do here. Now, just a little background about the San Francisco Unified School District. One is the size. So if we were to take EPS, our largest school district here, right? Detroit Public Schools, and we were to triple it. Now we're looking at the size of San Francisco. And then we talk about race and ethnicities. You know, on average, you can go into a school and they may have, what, 10, right? Maybe 5. San Francisco has over 40 different races and ethnicities. So when you talk about a situation that could really become volatile, they have it all. But they've been using restorative practices for some time, and it has been helping them to deal with the circumstances that they have in and around their school district. So we're going to take a brief break, get our technology set up, and then we're going to go into our first video of the day. So before we go on our video, we are going to do a tribute. Okay? So I am going to say something, right? And then roll captains will raise their hand. And if you get it right, you get a point, you get closer to breaking out the road. Sound good? Okay, all right. So, what is the R word that we will spend all of our training on? Right here. Restorative. Okay, hold on. Somebody said it. Relationship was the word. Okay. Don't yell it out. We appreciate that. Good. You're listening. Very good. But yeah, you can hold it in. That way you can get the point. Somebody else don't take it from you. But that's what it was. Restorative is definitely got for relationships. So the first part of this training is all going to be about relationships. So we want to thank that road captain right there for participating. We're going to give you we're going to do a 5-minute break. So we're going to get our technology in. Then we're going to come back and watch our first video.
Yo. I'm coming. I'll be there in a minute.
Yes, you are.
1 minute, we're going to be coming back together. 1 minute, we're going to be coming back together. Roll captains, I need you to bring your roll back together. Roll captains, I need you to bring your roll back together. All rolls not back when we start will unfortunately not be able to leave room. Roll captains, I need all the people back in the seats. We're about to light this up. All right. Thank you all for your time. Thank you all so much for your energy. Thank you all so much for your time. Roll captains, if you have a complete roll. Oh, we got a roll here. Got another point over here, point over here, point over here, point over there, point in the back, point. All right. So we gave out 7 points. Keep track of your points. At the end of the day, we're going to total those up. Points will get you going home early. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. We're coming back right now. We're coming back right now so that we can get refocused on our assignment of learning to be restorative. So roll captains, thank you so much for getting your roles together. If we're in the hallway, if you can, if you want to get everybody back in so we can get started again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your energy. I greatly appreciate it. So we have our technology working now. So that means we're going to be able to really get into our video, this professional development day. What I want you to know is as we go through this training, I really want it to be as interactive. So I can only do half of that. I really need your support. So your participation really is going to make this professional development day more memorable than just somebody like. Although you will walk away with wonderful tools, you're going to gain more the more interaction that we're able to have. So this is what I want us to do. Our roll captains in every row, would you stand up, please? Roll captains in every row, could you stand up, please? All right. So the reason that I chose you to be roll captains because you are the example upon which your role will look to. So your participation or lack thereof will greatly judge what people walk away with. So I place this burden upon you. But although I place this burden upon you, I am not asking you to be flawless. You don't have to be flawless. Your dancing will ignite your growth. For all of our roll captains. Captains only. Roll captains only. Give it up. That was excellent. Right? You don't have to be flawless. The reason that we use that song is because when we start to implement this training, it won't be flawless. It won't be perfect. We will not do everything that we see on this video exactly as we're seeing it done. We will not do everything in this training exactly as we see it done. But that is not the issue at hand. The issue at hand is that we're trying and we're having fun doing it. That's the whole point. That's what kids want to see. Right? That is exactly what kids want to see. So I want you to watch this video, and every tool that they talk about in this video, we're going to use. But before we get started, yes, sir. Okay, 5, because I was getting down. They were getting down. And up here, 5. And with that t-shirt, that row, they were rocking out 5. 5 right there. 5, if you were getting down, this shirt, you were getting down. And, okay, 5 right there. All right, so that row, right, 5. I gotta give it to you. Now, a little bit. I'm gonna put your 5 on pause. I'm gonna put it on pause right now. We're gonna come back later. We're gonna revisit that. But we're gonna get into this video. Now, as you watch this video, we're gonna put yours on pause too. Yeah, we got hope for you later. As we watch this video, we're gonna see a lot of tools on what it means to be restored. You have envelopes that are in front of you. Those are for you to write down those forms, right? As that folder is, write those down. We're going to utilize every tool that we see in this video. And we're going to utilize it, we're going to play with it, we're going to have fun with it. But at the end of the day, 2 of these tools you're going to walk away with and be proficient at using it at the end of the day. All right? So we're going to get into our first video.
Their practices has really changed the school environment. There is a calmness and a consideration that's coming out that wasn't there.
You can say exactly what you're thinking to say. I think the kids are really responding to it. It helps me think about what other people really like about the world.
Well, what I like about circles is that everybody gets a turn.
We need to talk to our kids. We need to create these relationships. It's all about building relationships.
They're able to believe in their own feelings and to share their own feelings.
You get to say everything you want to say, and people listen to you.
It truly is something that's allowing our students to believe that they feel safe and to believe that they feel cared about within our community.
It made me feel like a part of this class. It made me feel special.
I think it's really transformed our school. We're working towards building the kind of school that we want.
Restorative practices are based on principles that emphasize the importance of positive relationships as central to building community that involve processes that restore relationships when harm has occurred. A restorative school environment is about building relationships, giving students a voice, creating an inclusive community, working with students, and consistency of restorative practice.
To allow for a climate in a classroom that will really foster their learning.
Before we can get to testing, before we can get to academics, we have to start with how do we connect to and how do we relate to this human being that is in front of us. Restorative practices has been able to give people language around taking all those different things on. The number one thing for me being the relationships that people have with one another.
Human beings are happier, more productive, and more likely to make positive changes in their behavior when those in positions of authority do things with them rather than to them or for them.
We often, as adults, we talk down to the kid. Be something as simple as you threw that pen at him, I need you to come in at lunch, I need you to serve his attention.
In a lot of areas in their lives, they don't feel like they get to be heard, they're talked to.
Letting the kid talk. I think that's the biggest thing.
Or adults that only let you say what they want to hear.
The key to the whole system, restorative practice to me, is trust. They have to trust that you're going to allow them to speak.
Someone's actually listening
to what I have to say, why I'm hurting. They're listening and they're not judging me. It's a good feeling.
To allow everybody's stories to be a part of the community. And we're building that framework.
It just builds community and it just creates a model for how we all want to relate to one another.
Ultimately, everyone wants to feel a sense of belonging. They want to be seen. They want to connect with another person.
Children who are assailants are often victims themselves who haven't been taught that they really are part of something. They don't feel like they're part of something, and they don't feel that they have a voice.
And as we work here at Civic Center, this is a community, and we work really hard to instill community and help people feel like there's a place where they're wanted, where they feel comfortable, they feel good about coming to school every day.
When I first came into school, I think, I felt like a fish out of water, but when I started participating more, like, I got to see how everybody interacts. Everyone was just
What I really like about the restorative practices is that you're working with the students to help them to develop their own problem solving skills.
We have to make it sort of the way that's gonna work out, give them full buy into the culture of the school. It really makes sense, because they're the ones that have to go to school here.
They work it out. You tell me what you think you should do. And make that person feel that they come up with some things that
It's always going to be the same process. For the adults, we have a tool that gives us the words to say and a process to go through for every single case. Kids who have a lot of trauma in their lives, this is the same process every day with every adult. And no matter what happens, they are being heard.
Using these questions, and not everyone has them memorized yet, but even when they take out the card, it's giving them a chance to pause before reacting. It's giving the adult a chance to pause before reacting and the child a chance to pause. And so it sort of slows down that process of reactivity.
Behavioral restorative practices includes effective statements, restorative dialogue and impromptu conferences, circles, community building and repairing harm, and formal conferences. Effective statements are statements that include how a person was affected by the behavior of another person.
We're really trained now like using effective statements. So as opposed to saying stop talking, if you're frustrated with me right now, you go trying to talk to the class and keep talking. It'd be helpful to stop.
you're gonna come in quiet and have a seat, and you're gonna give me your attention. Watch out, you know, this is so beautiful. And not have the capacity for public speaking time, or a variety of sports events, where people themselves, their own ideas. I like how he knows he should be playing in his folder right now.
I can use an effective statement, and I can say, I really care about you right now, and I'm concerned about the fact that you haven't been to school for 3 days. Is everything okay with you and your family right now? Because last week you were here every day, and I know that your mom has been sick.
When responding to a conflict, a restorative approach consists of asking key questions.
We usually follow those specific questions. It's more or less what happened, what were you thinking, what are you thinking about now, who have you harmed, how can we solve it?
Instead of saying, why did you do that? Asking what happened. Creating a deeper understanding of the importance of letting the kids express themselves.
Everybody's using this same terminology, and the kids, in my opinion, are getting that.
It's become a way that we talk at home. You know, instead of saying you need to apologize to your sister, we say to both kids, how are you going to make this right?
We know that this is a place where they will be treated fairly. And I think that's so important for kids to understand and know.
A restorative circle is a community process with a range of purpose, including community building and repairing harm.
We do circles all the time. We have advisories every day, which is like a half hour or a small group of kids. And that's always a circle. We do circles as a staff every time we meet.
We do circle every morning. It's a way for me to touch bases with my kids every day. It's also another way for the kids to feel like they are spoken and they're heard. And it's, you know, it's raw. It's their true feelings. And a lot of it has actually come with restorative practices rather than just saying I'm sad. They're able to explain why they're sad now.
Never make you proud.
Yes, accidents. When I go to recess and play soccer, I don't feel strong. How do
Smart. They know that when they're willing to express themselves, other people will be receptive to what they have to say.
Service can be used for conflict resolution, building community, healing, problem solving, brainstorming, diffusing tension, reflecting, family issues, introducing new students, farewell to students meeting, and community violence debriefing. A historic conference is a structured meeting with the victim, offender, and affected parties to decide as a group how the harm will be repaired by the offender.
We go to the parties, usually the students, and they both agree to it. And it's a chance for them to talk things out, to hear each other's perspectives. So we go through the questions here, the questions for the person being harmed, and the person for the questions for the person who did the harm. And usually how it works is both sides have done some harm and both sides feel harmed. And so we just go through the questions and they each get to tell their perspectives on it, and they come up with a solution. So it's problem solving, it's the life skills for them. And they generally feel better about it in the end, and they feel like it's more fair.
Tell her what you're gonna do.
Well, wait, no, we can't be friends again, like, we can't be fighting or anything. We can't let what people say come up. Most of the stuff that people say is accurate. They try to start fights.
It's pretty radical shift in a way. You know, I felt so at first. It's pretty radical.
You have a paradigm shift from before, like when somebody broke a rule, then they would be punished for the breaking of the rule. A restorative approach is teaching the person who's caused the harm to look at how their actions impact not just the person that they're hurting, but also the people around them. Then a lot more learning and accountability.
Recognizing that there are people that were affected by that choice, and the effect might be something as simple as my feelings were hurt, or the effect might be so strong that another child doesn't want to go to school the next day.
What I found with restorative practices, not only does it allow a chance to build a relationship, but more importantly, it creates accountability.
Restorative practices to me is taking the time to sit down and find out what is really going on, because that's the only way we prevent it from happening again.
We get down to what's really going on. Lower the repeat of incidences that come up because those underlying issues are lost.
Instead of getting a referral because someone's talking back to the teacher in class, I get a referral for the reasons why the child may be talking back in class. So the student didn't get any food, the student lost their housing, the parents are separating. So we're getting at those underlying reasons, and then I can actually do the job that I was picked here to do versus putting out fires.
I do our suspension stats for our school every year for the past 7 years. I'm creating charts after every semester, after every school year. The discipline model, although for some cases I think, it's necessary to it doesn't fit anymore. What I realize is that we can't expel or discipline ourselves out of the problem. It's going to take real action from us as teachers and administrators and certain citizens to change that side.
There's a whole lot over there with humor. I think we just kind of took in our mind that this person's guilty, you get a punishment, and go on, and that was some vindication for the victim. In this situation, there's also vindication for the victim by hearing that the person can actually acknowledge what they did, speak about what they were thinking at the time, and also that perpetrator can hear how it made that victim feel.
And that effect has been amazing. The office used to be full of kids. We didn't have enough seats for all the kids in the office. Kids would run into the office trying to tell their stories, yelling because they wanted to be the first one to tell their version of whatever it was that happened. Now they walk in.
I just hear so much less yelling. It's all the staff members, my family members.
It's really important for a child's future and for their adults to be able to resolve conflict appropriately and they're learning to help.
And there's a feeling of calmness that we didn't have before. There's a feeling of knowing that whatever happened is going to be taken care of, that everybody's story will be heard. It allows them to handle the smaller things in a faster, more effective way, and then the more serious things get to have a little bit more attention.
it really works. Something I've been doing for a long time. But I think with the new terminology, everybody pitching, it's helping. Very helpful.
Guiding team looks at it, especially if we need to get to the next level, we would have staff members practicing, like giving each other those of decision. Feeling the safe place to come to one another with any kinds of differences, problems that we can have.
Restorative practices helps kids recognize that these feelings that they have as a result of something can be changed and everybody can be forward. The kid did harm, the kid was harmed, the teacher who might have been harmed in this process, the whole school community. I think it's really the way to go.
It's allowing our students to take control over how their days run. That no one's gonna tell them what to do. You have control over how you interact with your friends and your teachers and anyone else in the school.
Well, most people really believe that education is the way our world is going to get better. And on the idea that everyone deserves the chance to be heard. Restorative practices really embodies what most teachers went into teaching to accomplish in the first place. They wanted to be part of a community of relationship that provides education. We need to reclaim the idea of relationship and education.
He works here. He's a great mom. Here in the city center. And it's worked for us. So I would imagine that it would work for any school who can work here.
It's been great for our school.
I see it working.
As we go back into our training. Based upon the video alone, tell me, what did you see? What did you see? What did you take away from the video that you saw? Yes. Ah. Ah, right. Yes, very good. Yes, sir, right here. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, over here, yes, sir. Repeat what everybody said. Forgive me, sir. From here on out, I will repeat. Right here in that. Right here.
Come together in a circle form, and I wrote this down, so I'm gonna put it on my board, that the community circle is a collaborative integration of heartbeats, expressing experiences of conflict and dreams, the shared voices of the reflection.
That was beautiful. Can you come up here and repeat that? Because I don't want to massacre. All right, I'm getting hot, guys. We're going to give it to you, because that was good. I think that resonates. Just listening, yes. These are basic things. Good teaching already does this, right?
So what I said was that the community circle forum that was enacted here reminds me so much of what we already do in our DIR with our wintertime process. But this year, what I'm going to go back and put on the board for our students to see is that this is a collaborative integration of heartbeats, expressing experiences of conflict and dreams through their shared voices of reflection. That is my question.
Give a round of applause. Thank you very much. All right, so understanding what she just said right there, we're going to tap back now into the social science part of restorative practice. Right? I truly believe when a child stands up and says, F this, I don't want to be here, there's a physiological and sociological and psychological reason why these things are happening. It is incumbent upon us to start to understand this social science of dealing with people. Because someone up here said that people have baggage, right? And based on, I'm not taking your, I'm reiterating, giving you more points for your points. So again, we are all complex individuals with different backgrounds, beliefs, ideologies, raisings, right? All of this creates this perfect storm for conflict. It creates this perfect storm for conflict. So as we introduce these social sciences, it's not a reason for us to excuse bad behavior. So let me make this in clear. I am not introducing reasons to excuse bad behavior. I strongly believe we must maintain standards. If you have a restaurant, we all have a favorite restaurant we go to. We appreciate that that restaurant has a standard, right? There's a cleanliness standard, and we don't want that to be lower. So the same way with our schools, we must be able to set standards. But now we have to understand the people who we're holding to these standards. Because this is one thing that I know without a doubt, no matter what school system that I go into, we do not pick who comes through that door. We take them as we find them. And that being said, we need to understand our customs. We need to understand those parents. The more we're able to understand them, we're not excusing bad behavior, but now we can better deal with the situation. So our first exercise, you have a worksheet in your folder. It's called the Compass of Shame. So as a group, I want you to make sure that you walk away with the points we'll be giving to you for understanding this compass of shame. The compass of shame was invented back in the early 80s by a psychologist by the name of Donald Nates, and actually John Brightwright out of Australia. But what it helped us to understand is that when individuals are experiencing shame, they're going to respond in one of four ways. We're going to talk about each of those four ways, okay? But before we watch the video, this is something that I want you to do. I want you to think about a time in your life when you were shamed. Somebody did something to you, and we want to stay safe. So we're talking about something safe. Think about a time in your life when you were shamed. Adult, whatever. I don't want to lead you questions. But just think about a time in your life when you were shamed. I'll give you 30 seconds to kind of revisit that moment for a minute. Because it's one thing to kind of see the social science behind it, but we need to identify it, right? We need to be able to identify it. Give you 30 seconds, and then we're going to get into our video. And then we're going to come back and revisit what you were thinking about. So we're going to go into the compass of shame. You have your first worksheet. Does everybody have their worksheet on the compass of shame? Okay. Leaders, our captains, our role captains, it is incumbent upon you to make sure that everyone feels this out completely in your role. Okay? So if this is where we do what teachers call scaffolding. So if somebody's not getting it, you reach back and you pull them up with you, okay? There is no first one to finish. We finish at the row. Yes, sir. Okay, we do have some coming. So for right now, what you may have to do is scoop down, or not, we will get you one before, I think we got them getting ready to come in. But we are printing supplies right now. All right, we're going to get into our video. There are two videos. We're going to watch one video stop, two videos, and then we're going to pull up our worksheets and we can start filling it out together.
We think that confusion is entirely a neocortical cognitive process, but it isn't. Watch the face of a child or an adult who's confused.
turn away like this. Something's going on, and we believe that it's shame. There's no way that I know of to separate confusion from its accompanying effort. All confusion involves shame. Now, there's nothing wrong with being confused. Much that we're taught in school is not immediately intuitively perceptible. Of course we can't learn everything quickly. And the normal or healthiest child can accept that shame associated with confusion and redouble the intentional interest to go back to study that until this child gets it. So early, our children divide into two streams. Those who know they can overcome shame and force attention to what's going on and then get the result they want, the triumph. And those who say, it's not worth it. I don't want to have more pain.
This visual right here, we understand that there are two ways, right? Two groups of individuals when it comes to experiencing shame. With that in mind, we're going to go for our second video, okay? Still dealing with shame.
The other kids could make the books talk. They picked the books up and words would come out. He said, to me, it just looked like lines and circles and squiggles. I had no idea where the words were. The teacher began hassling me because I wasn't able to read. And by the end of October, the kids were making fun of me because I couldn't read. And I realized it wasn't going to be too long before my mom and dad found out that I wasn't doing my job. He said, well, I was scared. I was really scared. He said, I was also a real resourceful kid. And I looked around the room and I noticed there was another kid in the class who couldn't read. This kid couldn't read away. And yet nobody made fun of him because he couldn't read. The teacher didn't hassle him because he couldn't read. And because he was deaf. He wore a hearing aid. He had a hearing loss. And because he was deaf, no one expected him to read on time. He said, so I figured in my 6-year-old mind, the solution to my problem was to convince everyone that I was deaf. And if I could convince everyone I was deaf, they'd stop hassling me about the reading. He said, so I went on a one-man campaign to convince everyone in my life that I couldn't hear. He said, and everything was fine until June. I said, well, what happened in June? He said, my mom and dad sat me down the last day of school in June in the first grade and said, Dan, we're really worried about your hearing. You don't seem to be able to hear. We're taking you to hearing doctors and audiologists all over Cape Cod. Nobody can figure out what it is. So we make an appointment for you. And you go to the Boston Children's Hospital next week, and you're going to stay there for 4 days and 3 nights. And they're going to do exploratory ear surgery and have your adult surgical needs. And this 6-year-old kid wait 2-3 days of surgery, explains and tells parents what he's done. Can you imagine the trauma of a 6-year-old child going through surgery that he knows he didn't need it?
She would go to the grocery and she would get the wrong thing. She just think, well, that's not deserved, that's what I was supposed to get, you know. She just had no self-worth because it was just shamed out of her because she couldn't crack the code, she couldn't learn, she couldn't do what everybody else was doing. The pain and the shame that people feel, people talking about walking back in school and actually getting sick at their stomach, you know, because they remember how painful it was and how hurtful it was.
Shame and avoiding embarrassment are at the heart of almost every story we get from adults who come into adult literacy programs. It runs the gamut from the mother who receives notes from her children's teacher, but tosses them in the waste can because she doesn't want to admit to her children that she can't read the notes that are coming from the teacher. The truck driver who goes to a colleague and says, I can't read Joe's writing, can you tell me what this note says? The person who never fills out a questionnaire at work that says, well, I didn't have my glasses today, I need to take this home, and takes it home and has his wife read it to them and then comes back with a filled out form the next day to work. These stories recur over and over and over. Asked to read out loud in front of a class, which is a very typical elementary school reading activity can be a terribly humiliating situation. So humiliating that it will actually push people out of school just so they don't have to do that one thing. I'd like to say that it, and would have to act out, just wouldn't get up, just wouldn't, I know the teachers just wouldn't talk, just rebel. So their activity, I was just embarrassed. And we'll get up there and try and fill in a word and hear my life. When kids are hesitant, disfluent, inaccurate, slow and labored in reading, that is very visible to the peers, and the peers, the other kids, again, look at reading as a proxy for intelligence. It doesn't matter if this kid is already a genius and can do algebra in the second grade. Reading produces particular perceptions that are said. Lousy reading produces a perception of stupidity and dumbness to peers, and clearly to the youngster who is struggling. That is the change.
If not every time the child reads, but reliably, every once in a while when the child reads, that child experiences shame. And that feels awful. And that codes reading as a powerful source of shame. Wouldn't a child be stupid to voluntarily do something that's going to humiliate them?
And why go out there, put yourself on the line if you know that it's going to get unfair? And you're going to be called on, either by your teacher or by your classmates. And you're open to shame, you're open to approval. Kids are dumb. They know when something isn't working, and they know what's going to hurt. So they pull that.
They will escape from the situation one way or another.
That's a make up an excuse. Say I don't have glasses, but then that moment was. I don't wear glasses. So it kind of busted me in the long run. I could see even with the 9-year-olds that when they were unable to read, it seemed to me even if I had a magic bullet, they didn't want to deal with it. They had already started to avoid print. And a lot of these kids would become active and look, in a sense, intentionally different. And possibly would have been diagnosed as ADD, but their attentional difficulties are just simple avoidance. They would become distractible, they would become fidgety when they had to read. The reason is they want to get out of it.
Before now, I asked you at the beginning to think about an experience in your life that brought you shame. Right? So everybody should have that moment. And if you have that moment, I just need one person to share. Who would be so kind to share? Who would be so kind? There is a reward for those who share. Who would be so kind? Yes, come on down. Or stand up so we can hear it. Because I can't repeat everything verbatim. Think about that, right? Because she was experiencing that shame, she'd rather take discipline. She'd rather take discipline. So when we look at our compass of shame, when we look at our compass of shame, hold on 1 minute, guys. Folks. When we look at our compass of shame, it tells us that individuals are going to respond in one of 4 ways, right? And based upon these 4 ways, alright, so based upon these 4 ways, people are going to withdraw, right? And that's what she did, right? She wanted to just isolate herself from the situation. Right? Running and hiding. They're going to attack self. We see people who engage in masochism, cutting themselves on the arm. They're going to self-put down, always talking bad about themselves. Individuals who try to avoid it, those are the individuals who may be in denial, they turn to drugs. Even suicide is a form of avoidance, right? When people are experiencing change. And then finally, what I submit to you is probably 80% of the children that we're going to be talking about today, when they experience change, they're going to go this way right here. They're going to attack others, turning the table, blaming the victim, verbally or physically lashing out, right? Now, we use shame in the sense of, from a curriculum base, but it doesn't have to be there. We narrowed it because we couldn't talk about shame in every nuance. But think about it. I simply said, give me an experience in your life that you had and you experienced shame. I didn't say what area in your life. He went back to her childhood. Now, many of us probably did the same thing, right? We don't have to do a shorthand, but many of us probably did the same thing. We thought about something in our childhood that still lingered. And so what does that teach us about shame? That it's very devastating and it has long-lasting effects. I'll give you an example. I was in a school district one time, and as a consultant, I worked in school districts from where we had gangs and we're patting down every day with drugs to, people being dropped off by the family butler. So I've worked in every type of school district you can possibly imagine. All right, so one particular school district I'm in at the time, we had a young man. Mom dropped him off late. So school starts at 7:30. Mom gets him there by 8:45. So of course, the day has already started. So he comes in, he walks through the door, and he has his pants sagging down, right? And so immediately we have security guards in the building. They say, hey, you need to pull your pants up.